State may call its next witness, please.
The state calls Daniel Ryder.
Good morning, Mr. Ryder. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is to my right. It is up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state and spell your first and last names for the record.
Daniel Ryder, Danielrider.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Sir, do you live in the city of Waukesha?
I do.
Where were you living back on November 21st of 2021?
553 Elizabeth Street.
Were you living there, were you home there that afternoon and early evening, that Sunday afternoon?
I was.
Was anybody else home with you?
No.
Can you describe what that residence looks like? Is it a single-family house, multi-unit? What's it look like?
Yeah, it's
Overruled. You may answer.
it's a three or four bedroom house with 2 bathrooms. It's a Cape Cod style home, land and stone. It's got a 2.5 car garage.
Okay. Do you know what Aries Industries is?
Yeah.
Where is Aries Industries in relation to the house you're describing?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Witness may answer.
Yeah, Aries is right across the street from my house.
That afternoon, November 21st, were you aware that the Waukesha Christmas Parade was taking place?
Yes, I was aware of the parade.
Did you attend the parade?
No.
Did you watch the Packer game?
I did watch the Packer earlier that day, but I was watching the Chiefs-Cowboys game that evening.
Okay.
Or that, I think it was afternoon. I don't know exactly what time it was, but...
Do you recall what happened at approximately 5 o'clock p.m. that day?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yeah, so earlier that day I was in my hometown, Prairie du Chien, for deer season, and then I drove back to Waukesha. I got home in Waukesha, my home in Waukesha, around 4 o'clock, and I was watching the game, and then about 5 o'clock my Ring doorbell goes off, and then there's a gentleman at my front porch knocking on the door saying that they're homeless, they're cold, and they need to use my phone so that they can tell their Uber where to pick them up.
What did that gentleman look like?
He was African American. He had long hair and a beard.
Do you remember what he was wearing?
Yeah, he had a red T-shirt, reddish orange T-shirt, and no shoes on, pants. But I remember it stood out to me because it was cold and really windy that day, and he was outside with a T-shirt and no shoes, and saying he's really cold. So that stood out. You
mentioned a few moments ago your Ring doorbell. Is that a device affixed to your exterior door frame?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
It's fixed to the outside of my porch, so not quite on the door, but just next door to the door. Yeah.
Okay. And does that capture video?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
What about audio?
Yes.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Did your Ring video doorbell capture the video and audio of your initial interaction with that gentleman on the afternoon of November 21st?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
The Ring doorbell, when it senses motion, it takes a 20-second snippet, and the 20 seconds that I got from the initial interaction was just the suspect coming up to my house and knocking on the door and saying he's homeless and needs help. I didn't get the verbal interaction that I had with him on the Ring doorbell because it only filmed 20 seconds.
After the fact, so later that evening, did you speak with law enforcement?
Yes.
And did you subsequently at some point provide that 20-second Ring video doorbell clip to a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Did you edit it in any way before sending it?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
No, and there was 4 or 5 different snippets, not just the 1 20-second snippet. So there was one, the initial interaction of him coming to the door, and then there was another one of him leaving, and then an interaction there, and then the police coming to the door and him asking to come back inside the house when I wouldn't let him in. So there's 4 clips that I submitted, 4 or 5 that I submitted to the police.
All right, let's work our way through those. Let's start, Your Honor. I'd ask that we please show exhibit number 75 for the witness only.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
Do you see a video on the screen in front of you?
I do.
What are we looking at here?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
This is Mr. Brooks coming up to my door.
You said Mr. Brooks. Did you know his name at that time?
Not at the time, no.
When did you learn that name?
The officers were using it after the fact, so I don't know, about 5:30 or so that day.
Okay. Does this appear to accurately depict your front porch as it looked as that subject walked up to your door?
Yes.
And this is the video you sent to law enforcement that night, or sometime after that night?
Yes.
Move exhibit 75 into evidence and ask to publish.
Objection.
Exhibit 75 is received permission to publish. Granted.
Objection.
It's noted. Overruled.
As we're waiting for that to pop up in the jury box on their screens, I'll ask you, Mr. Ryder, do you see a date and timestamp on the bottom right-hand corner of this video?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
I do.
Is that a timestamp that's a feature of Ring, or was that added after the fact?
Objection.
Overruled.
It's a feature of Ring. I didn't add that yet.
And to your knowledge, does that timestamp appear to be accurate?
Objection.
Overruled.
Speculative.
Yes, that is accurate.
For the record, the objection was overruled.
This is a 20-second clip. I'm going to ask that we play it once with audio.
Hey, I'm calling an Uber, and I'm supposed to be waiting for it over here, but I don't know when it's coming. Can you call it for me, please? I'm homeless.
Can we pull that back up just to look at the timestamp one more time? Thank you. And just for those of us with not the greatest eyesight, would you mind reading that timestamp on the bottom right hand at the beginning of this exhibit?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Yeah, it says November 21st, 2021, and the timestamp says 17:01, so 5:01 p.m.
Okay. The voice we heard in that exhibit that we just played, whose voice is that?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Objection.
You may answer, sir.
It's Mr. Brooks's voice.
It's not yours.
No.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask that Mr. Brooks please be instructed to remove his face mask momentarily.
Sir, would you please remove your face mask and face the witness?
Was that a question of...
The state's asked, sir, please remove your face mask and face the witness.
I'm confused. He made a statement about voice.
The question's been asked and answered. Please remove your mask.
What was the question?
Please remove your mask and face the witness.
Mr. Ryder, do you see the person depicted in exhibit number 75 in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you identify him for us by telling us where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
He's sitting at the table right there wearing a black suit and a gray striped tie.
I'd ask the record reflect that the witness has identified Mr. Brooks.
The record will reflect that the witness has identified the defendant as the person depicted in this video and the person who was on his porch on November 21.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name, for the record.
Go ahead, your next question, please.
Thank you. What happened in the moments after this video, the 20 seconds that were captured?
So he was on my porch for, I don't know exactly, a minute maybe, and he was telling me the interaction, or he was telling me that he needed to use my phone to let his Uber know where to pick him up, and that he was homeless and cold, and he said he didn't have any weapons or anything on him, and he lifted his shirt real quick, and I was like, no, it's okay, you can use my phone, and I let him come inside and warm up. I just tend to believe people, and I'm from a small town, and we had people that need help all the time because we live right off a highway. So I'm used to, didn't faze me too much. I mean, I was nervous for sure, but I was like, yeah, I can use my phone. And he made it sound like the Uber was going to be here just any second, just needed to know where to pick him up. So I said, yeah, you can come and warm up while you wait for the Uber. And I let him sit on the couch right by the window out front. I said, you can look out here waiting for your Uber. And he's on the phone most of the time after that with his mom. And he's saying the address 553 Elizabeth Street is where it needs to come, and how far away is it, kind of things like that. But
Okay.
I guess is that what you're wondering, or?
Let me back up.
Yeah.
You made a motion with your hands there regarding what Mr. Brooks said about not being armed. You do that again, just for anybody who missed it?
Objection. I don't know. Not consent
Use
to
your-
being called that name.
Go ahead and
Again, for the record.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly what the motion was. I remember him saying he didn't have any weapons and he's not dangerous. And I think he lifted his shirt really quickly. But then I was like, don't worry, I'm not worried about that. And so I didn't, it's not like I patted him down or anything like that. But.
Okay. Did you let him in the front door that would be right next to your video doorbell?
I actually,
Leading.
Oh,
I can rephrase.
go ahead, rephrase.
What door did you let Mr. Brooks into your home?
I let him in the
Objection.
back door.
I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. Go ahead, you may answer.
Yeah, the back door.
Okay. So he went around the side of the house to get to the back door?
That's right.
What happened when he got to the back door?
I don't remember exactly. I remember letting him in. Well, I remember, so I just got back hunting, so I asked him to go through the back door so I could make sure I didn't have any weapons laying around. And so after that was good, then I let him in the back door. Well, just to give me a second to make sure nothing was tempting or anything. But I let him in the back door, and I think I gave him a coat right away, and then gave him my phone, and then told him where to sit down. And when I told him to sit in the spot, he didn't move or anything. He stayed right there and listened to me.
What else did you give him?
I gave him a sandwich because he said he was homeless. And I said, I can get you some slippers to put on your feet to warm your feet up. I never did end up giving him slippers. But yeah, so I gave him a jacket to wear while he was at my house. I gave him a spot to sit and wait for the Uber and a sandwich.
You testified earlier that he was on the phone with his mom. How do you know that?
Objection. Respectfully to you.
Overruled.
A few reasons. I heard him say mama a lot, and his mother called me, and I didn't answer, but his mom called and left a voicemail after the fact, confirming it.
Whose phone was he using while he was inside your house?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
He's using my personal cell phone.
How would you describe his demeanor as he was inside your house?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
I would say flustered, but also there were many times he was thanking me, and so he was grateful, and he even said, "Thank you so much for showing me love, man," and he was calling me bro, and so it wasn't, I guess that didn't make me feel like I was in any danger at the moment.
Did Mr. Brooks leave your home at some point?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer.
I'm sorry, I lost train of thought. Can you say it again?
Did he leave your home at some point?
Yeah, he left when I asked him to. So he was in my house for 8 or 9 minutes, and then I was standing on the front door looking outside because I was getting a little nervous because I thought the Uber would be there in a minute or two, not 10. And so after 8 or 9 minutes, I'm looking around outside, and I see a police car drive by. And then I see another one coming down the street. And so I tell him, I say, hey, we don't get a lot of police traffic on this street, and I'm getting nervous, and this is just too weird of a situation. You're fine to wait for your Uber, but you need to do it outside of my house. And he was a little bit like, oh, no, it's okay, don't worry, man, don't worry. And I said, no, you need to leave. And then he listened and got up, and I've got video footage of that, of me escorting him outside of my house. He's still on the phone, and he's still got my jacket on, but I just said, you need to leave. Do you want me to say what I mean? Do you want me to keep going? Or?
I just want you to answer my questions. So.
Okay, yeah.
Let's pause there, though.
Sure.
And show for the witness only, please. Exhibit number 77. We'll play a few seconds of this without any audio, and actually, to save time authenticating, Your Honor, I think we'll do this with the remaining 3 videos we have.
Go ahead. So this is 70.
77, yep.
77. All right, thank you.
Play a few seconds, please, without, yep, there we go. Okay, we played 4 seconds from Exhibit 77. Do you recognize that clip?
I do.
And what is that?
It's Mr. Brooks walking out first with a jacket on, and me in a long-sleeve shirt, a gray shirt, walking out behind him.
Can we show for the witness only, please, Exhibit 78?
Go ahead.
We'll play the first couple of seconds of this one, too. Okay. We played the first 8 seconds of that. Did you recognize that clip?
Yes.
What does that show?
That shows Mr. Brooks after I had him leave and get my phone and jacket. He was outside, and then him asking to come back inside because he said he left his ID inside my house. And that was on the audio, but it sounded like he had the audio off for that.
And we'll show you 79 now without any audio as well, just for the witness. Okay. We played 8 seconds of Exhibit 79. Do you recognize that video?
Yep.
What does it show?
It shows an officer on my porch after the suspect was put into cuffs, asking if I knew who the suspect was.
Are Exhibits 77, 78, and 79 accurate depictions of your porch that night?
Objection.
Yes.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
Move Exhibits 77, 78, and 79 into evidence and ask to publish all 3, please.
Objection.
The objection is noted as to all 3. It is overruled. Exhibits 77, 78, and 79 are received permission to publish. All 3 are granted.
Okay, 77 is up now for everybody. It's a 21-second clip. We're going to play it once with audio, please.
Before you do that, can we just confirm it's in the jury box? Not yet. Okay. Let me know.
I guess while we're waiting, we can make use of this time. Mr. Ryder, could you read the time and date stamp for us on the bottom right-hand corner?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's November 21st, 2021, 17:10, so 5:10 p.m.
All right,
Okay, we've
thank
got
you.
it up for the jurors. Let's play this once with audio. Do you see yourself in that video?
Yes,
What are you wearing in the video?
a gray shirt,
Overruled.
a gray shirt.
Did you hear the wind in that video?
Yes.
What do you recall being said in that portion of the video?
Objection. Bleeding.
Overruled.
I'm walking Mr. Brooks outside of my house, and my neighbor, Greg, says, "Are you guys looking for that guy?" And I had no idea of anything at this point, and so I say, "I don't know. This might be him." You can hear that in the audio. I don't know if anybody was able to distinguish that, but that's what was said. And then Mr. Brooks says, "No, no, no." And then I say, "Can I have my phone, please?" And then after that, I say, "Can I have my jacket, please?"
Did he provide those items to you?
He did.
Can Can we put up for the jury, please, Exhibit 78? This is a 20-second clip. We will play it once with audio, please.
My ID. My ID.
Mr. Ryder, what happened during that video clip?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Mr. Brooks, or I should say the suspect, came to my door, asked to come back inside to look for his ID. I said, no, I'll look for it. You stay out there. And I was looking underneath the couch and everywhere that he sat for his ID when I hear the police officers saying, put your hands up. And
Did you ever find that person's ID?
no,
Did that person leave anything else inside of your house?
no,
Flip-flops?
No.
Sweatshirt?
nothing.
Objection leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question. Please rephrase that last question.
What, if anything else, did that suspect leave in your house?
Objection leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
I didn't find anything left in my house.
Okay. Can we please show for the jury Exhibit 79? This is a 19-second clip. We will play it once with audio.
26. Ryder block Elizabeth. 126. Hey, do you know this guy? Absolutely not. Okay.
We've paused at 18 seconds. That's the police officer you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you, just for the record, read for us the time and date stamp on the bottom right-hand corner here at the 18-second mark of exhibit number 79?
Yeah, it's November 21st, 2021, and the time is 17:12 and 59 seconds, so 5:12 p.m.
The video is a little bit blurry. Do you know where Mr. Brooks is at this point?
Objection leading, and I do not consent to being called that name.
Overruled. The objections noted. You may answer the question.
Yeah, the suspect is on the east side of my walkway, on the northeast side of my house, in my yard. If you see where those two police officer heads are, the suspect is on the grass right there.
That's all I have for this witness. Thank you.
All right. Any cross?
Yes. Just one second.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Will you be needing any of those videos put back up at any time?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Thank you.
And before that evening, you didn't know the guy that came to your house, correct?
Correct.
And so why do you refer to him by name if you didn't know him?
Because after the fact, the police officers and other people involved informed me of who the suspect was that was at my house that night.
And it would be fair to say you captured, or your ring captured quite a little bit of video. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
And did you turn over all the ring footage to law enforcement?
I believe so. I mean, there was probably 7 or 8 other snippets of just officers coming in and out. I do believe I turned all that in, but nothing of evidence or anything.
And were you aware that the ring footage was shown on social media platforms?
I was aware, yes.
Any idea how that came about?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. He may answer.
Yeah, I released it.
And you released it. What do you explain what you mean by released it?
Yeah, the news wanted the footage, and I thought that this was good footage for this community and the victims to see some justice of the suspect put into cuffs, so I decided to release it.
And were you paid for that release?
I was.
So it would be fair to say that you profited off your ring footage.
The incentive to release the footage was not to make money, and we donated a lot of money of the money we did see off of it. But yes, we did. The money did make, or the video did make money.
Do you recall how many videos you released?
I believe it was 4.
And you got paid for all 4?
I don't know if it was paid for a per video basis, or we were getting bombarded by the news, so we did it. We worked with the agent that then dealt with all the news people, and we just got some off the back end. So I don't exactly know how that works.
So would it be fair to say that you sold that footage?
Yes.
And you stated that you were, while having this interaction, you were a little nervous. That be fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Did you feel like you were in any danger or just nervous?
I never felt like I was in danger until I saw the police driving by. Then I did.
But initially, your interactions, you didn't feel like you would be overtaken in any way?
No, and the person at my door was very polite, so I didn't feel in danger.
And you testifies to the effect that you had just arrived back home from hunting that evening?
That's correct. Well, not just arrived, but 4 o'clock probably got home, 4:15.
At that time, had you heard anything about what happened at the parade?
No, all I knew was that there was a parade that day, but I had not heard of any incident happening at all.
At any time during your interaction with the suspect, did you notice any car keys?
No. It's not to say he didn't have any on him, but I didn't notice any.
You didn't notice any.
Nope.
That'd be fair to say.
Yep, that'd be fair to say.
Did you notice any drug or alcohol?
I didn't personally notice any drug or alcohol. I know there was some substance found on my porch after the fact, but I didn't notice. I think maybe I smelled a little bit of weed or something, but nothing stood out too much.
And you stated that you gave the suspect a jacket and a sandwich?
Yes, sir.
And was that due to the suspect saying that they were homeless and cold, or did you just take the initiative to do that?
I don't remember the suspect asking for food, but I do remember them saying multiple times that they were homeless and cold and needed help, and so I took the initiative to try to help any way I could in the moment. Yeah, I think I offered the jacket and the sandwich. I don't think they ever asked for either one.
And you let them use your phone, correct?
Yes.
And how do you know for sure who they were talking to?
Because the number that they had called me back and left a voicemail saying that they were the mother of the person that just called. She said something to the effect of, "Hi, you just let my son use your phone. I'm calling back to figure out what's going on." And so that told me. And I did hear the suspect use mama when they were on the phone too.
Did you follow up with that voicemail?
I did not.
Grounds.
Overruled.
May I just clarify the basis was he didn't describe it as a voicemail?
He did. He said he left.
I thought he did, but
Yeah.
anyway, the objection's overruled. Did you finish asking your question? Why don't you just ask it again?
Did you follow up with the caller that left the voicemail after that?
I never called her back. No, she just called one time and left one voicemail. I did give the phone number to the police because they asked for it, so I gave them the number you had called and then told them about the voicemail calling me back. But I didn't release that to anybody else other than the police.
Do you recall keeping that phone number in your call log after that?
I believe it's still in my voicemail history, if that's what you're wondering.
Even now?
Even now, yeah.
Any reason why you would keep it this long?
I didn't go out of my way to keep it. It just is on there. I don't get a lot of voicemail, so I checked this morning just to make sure it was on there, and it still is on the bottom of my list.
So why would you check for it this morning?
Because I thought maybe it'd come up today. I don't remember the exact number, but I still have the voicemail if I needed to bring that up.
What led you to believe that it may come up this morning?
Because I knew I had to testify, but I didn't know what exactly would come up or not.
What do you mean by you knew you had to testify? Is that...
I got a subpoena and asked to come and share what happened at my house that day, and that was one of the things that happened.
You seeked testifying.
Objection.
Grounds.
Argumentative.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
So you made reference to still keeping the voicemail. Did you keep any of the ring footage?
It's still on my phone, yes.
You said it was like 6 or 7 videos.
I didn't keep anything past the officer coming up to my door after. So I think I've got only 4 saved, maybe 5.
Any reason why you would keep those this long?
I just haven't felt the need to get rid of them, I guess. I mean, that video is protecting me, from being involved or anything, so there's no reason I would ever get rid of it.
Would it be fair to say that you weren't involved in anything that evening?
Other than trying to help somebody who I thought was in need, I was not involved in anything that evening.
So why would you have any fear that you may be implicated in anything, and if you know that you weren't involved in anything?
Because I had a suspect who had just done horrendous things come to my house, and automatically people are going to think that maybe I had something, or I knew you or something, and I didn't. And so this is just validating that you told me you were homeless and I was trying to help a stranger out when really... Sorry. What's the question?
I mean, it would be fair to say that you weren't arrested in any connection to any events that evening. Would that be fair to say?
That'd be fair. I've never been arrested.
And so my question would be, why would you think that you would be implicated in any way?
Objection.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Next question.
And how do you feel that the keeping of the videos would protect you from something that you don't need protection from?
Objection.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Sustained.
I think I misspoke when I said that it was protecting me, because it's not necessarily protecting me. It's just something I haven't got rid of yet.
Do you recall interaction with law enforcement by the name of Officer Luling?
I do.
Do you recall emailing him portions of the ring footage?
Yes.
Do you recall how many portions?
Maybe 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly how many. So no, I can't recall that exactly how many I did.
Do you recall if it was 6?
I don't recall.
I'm assuming at some point that after escorting the suspect out of your house, you went back into your house?
Yep.
And what did you do from that point?
When I escorted the suspect out and he gave me the jacket and the phone back, I went right inside, locked the door, and I don't remember exactly what I did. I think I stood in there and looked outside because I wanted to see whatever was going on, see either the suspect get into an Uber and leave or see the police get him in cuffs. And it was a matter of a minute later, the suspect came and was knocking on my door again to come back inside and look for the ID.
When asking for your phone and your jacket back, was there any resistance on the part of the suspect, or did they just?
Maybe a few seconds to finish up their phone call, but they gave it back as soon as I asked for it.
And you stated at one point going back in your house to look for the ID and wasn't able to find the ID?
Yeah, the suspect came back after I escorted him out of my house, came back like about a minute later asking to come back inside and look for his ID. And I said, no, I'll look for it for you. So I was looking for his ID. I didn't let him back inside.
And you didn't find any ID when you looked?
No, I did not find any ID.
Did you find anything unusual?
No.
And after seeing reports on the news and things of the like, did you come into any more information at that point?
Objection.
The grounds.
Vague.
Sustained us to the film of the question.
Did you learn anything from news reports that you didn't know that evening?
Yes. After the fact, I learned of the suspect's criminal. Well, I guess. Sorry.
We're not going to go there.
Okay. I learned the name of the suspect at my house. I learned what that suspect was put into cuffs for at my house. And I learned what vehicle he drove and the details of the incident.
Did you observe the suspect in the vehicle at any time?
No.
Did you notice any vehicles parked in the area that you hadn't seen before?
No.
You made reference to briefly speaking with neighbors at that time?
Yeah, when I was escorting the suspect out of my house, the neighbors said, "Are you guys looking for that guy?" And up to that point, I had no information of a person that you should be looking for. So I said, "No, this might be him."
Do you know what they were referring to at that
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah, my neighbor was at the parade, and he was talking about the person driving the vehicle through the parade.
And you knew all that at that moment?
No, I didn't learn about that until the police told me after the fact. I didn't know what he was referring to when he said, "Are you guys looking for that guy?" I didn't know anything about anything particular, but just that somebody's looking for a guy. And so then that's what led me to believe that the suspect in my house may be the person.
It would be fair to say at that time, at that moment, you didn't know what they were referring to.
That would be fair to say, correct.
Did you have any other interactions with those neighbors that evening?
Yes, they called me after I got done doing my reports with the police, and I explained to them why there was so much police presence at my house afterwards, and that that the suspect was arrested at my house, or at my front porch.
And did they at any time say anything to you about seeing a vehicle or having knowledge of a vehicle at that time?
Yeah, Greg, my next door neighbor, saw the red vehicle running over people.
And he saw that. He told you that he saw that?
Yeah. He told me after I had, I don't know exactly what time, maybe 6:30 p.m. that night, when I called him after the fact. After I knew what had happened, then Greg told me that he had seen what had happened. A lot of my neighbors were at the parade.
Do you know if they gave any reports to law enforcement at that time?
I don't know that.
The officers that arrested the suspect at your home that evening, did you see your neighbors speak with any of those law enforcement officers?
I didn't see them, no. Speak with them, no.
And you stated that they told you what they saw. Any reason why they wouldn't speak with law enforcement, seeing as how they were right there in the area?
Objection.
Grounds.
Only for speculation.
Sustained.
So would it be safe to say you were pretty well informed that you would be testifying in this matter?
I didn't know. I knew that it was likely. I didn't know until I got the subpoena letter.
And when did you receive that subpoena?
I'm going to say September, maybe end of August.
And that was it was sent by the district attorney's office?
Yes.
You recall the name?
No.
After receiving the subpoena, did you follow up with the district attorney's office?
They said that they would be emailing me with more details, and I waited until I got the initial email before I did any following up with the district attorney's office.
And were those emails pertaining to testifying in this matter?
Yes.
Have you yourself filed any claims in this matter?
No.
Have you yourself seen or read any complaint in this matter?
No.
Would you yourself consider yourself an injured party in this matter?
No.
Are you aware of who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Sustained.
Would it be fair to say that you've followed reporting on this incident?
Initially, yeah, I watched the news and followed the reporting on it.
Initially?
Well, like I haven't been following the trial, but I was following the initial reports back in November of last year.
So pretty much right when the incident happened is what you followed?
Correct. The following week or so, or 2 weeks.
You ever hear who the plaintiff was in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Have you yourself ever had any interaction with the plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Sustained.
Do you even know if there's a plaintiff in this matter?
Same objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Do you recall how much you sold the ring footage for?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Overruled. He may answer.
I believe gross it was a little over 23,000, but after taxes and we donated a lot, so we saw a lot less than that afterwards.
Would it be fair to say that's quite a nice profit?
Objection.
Grounds.
It's
Sustained as to the form of the question.
And would that be the price just for one of the ring footages, or in total, all that you sold?
That was the total. Yeah.
The four.
Like I said, I don't know how that worked. That was just the kickbacks that we got from working with the. So yeah, I guess all of it, all four footage that was distributed to the news.
Do you recall which station that was? Which news station?
I think it was like most of the NBC, ABC,
So it was
CBS.
multiple.
Yeah, I don't recall all of them. No, I don't exactly which ones it was. I don't know.
So it'd be fair to say it was pretty much all the standard news stations.
Yeah.
Do you recall if that included TMZ?
objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Sustained. You've made your point. You can move on.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Please. Thank you. Mr. Ryder, do you have your phone on you right now?
Overruled. He may answer.
I don't. I gave it to a gal that let me in here. She's got it though.
While we're waiting on that, you mentioned you checked your phone this morning to confirm that you still had the voicemail we've been talking about, right?
Yes.
Relevancy.
Overruled. You questioned him about it. It's proper.
I'm referring to the use of the phone. What is the phone?
We haven't gotten there yet, sir. You're premature. You may answer.
You did check.
Yeah, I did.
If we were to provide your phone to you here today, do you think you'd be able to find that voicemail?
Objection.
Overruled. He may answer.
Yes.
Do you think you'd be able to play it on speakerphone for everybody to hear?
Objection. What is the relevancy?
Overruled.
Yeah, I can do that.
There's a way to also play it through the technology.
Objection. What is the relevancy?
Could I have a bailiff, please?
You can unplug it from the charger. It's probably
to the witness.
Objection. What is the relevancy?
It's relevant, sir. You cross-examine him about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm cross-examining him about the question, not
Brooks,
playing the phone.
please. I've made my ruling.
So is that a judicial determination?
Go ahead. You may ask your next question, Attorney Witcher.
Please open up your phone and let me know when you find the voicemail.
It's still pulling up right now.
Sure. You followed instructions and turned your phone off before you came into court.
Objection.
Overruled. He may answer.
Leading.
Yes, I turned the phone off before court.
Attorney Witcher, I presume while he's loading that you're not offering the voicemail for the truth of the matter asserted, but simply to substantiate that he received a call.
Yes.
The jury will be instructed in terms of what is said in that voicemail, not to consider it for the truth of the matter asserted, but just simply to substantiate the voicemail was received.
And part of that request, Judge, would be to include the time that the voicemail was left and the number from which it came.
Yeah, objection. What is the relevancy of that?
The objection's noted, and you may ask the witness those questions.
You might as well ask about the videos too then.
We'll get to those.
How much longer do you have with the...
5 minutes.
All right.
Well, I don't know how long this voicemail is, with that caveat.
All right, please continue.
It's
Okay.
29-second voicemail.
Okay. Can you tell us what phone number that voicemail came from?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled, he may answer.
The voicemail came from 1, so +1 or whatever. So 414-610-2153.
Can you tell us what time that voicemail came in?
Yeah.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled, he may answer.
5:27 p.m. on November 21st
Of 2021?
of 2021.
Objection. Leading.
Overruled, his answer may stand.
And Your Honor, at this point, I'd ask to allow the witness to play that voicemail using speakerphone. And if that doesn't work great with the audio system, then we can try the plugging in option.
Once again, the jury, will only consider this not for the truth of the matter, what's asserted in that voicemail, but simply to substantiate that it was received. Go ahead.
Objection.
Noted. Overruled.
Honestly.
Yes, Mr. Ryder, I don't know what's going on. I'm at work. I work at Trader. And my son, that was my son who you let use your phone.
Oh, sorry. I'll restart it. I was using the wrong
Yes,
mic.
Mr. Ryder, I don't know what's going on. I'm at work. I work at Trader. And my son, that was my son who you let use your phone. And he's calling. I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to see if he got the lift or what, because the guy is in a white Dodge Charger. I guess apparently the lift driver switched cars, and I didn't get the message. So I'm just trying to find out what the hell is going on. So I'm just want someone to just call me to tell me something, because I don't know.
And then that's the end of the voicemail?
Yes.
And you didn't contact the person who called you and left that voicemail after the fact, did you?
Objection. Asked and answered. Cross.
Overruled, he may answer.
No, I never contacted her.
Okay. The videos that we played in court today, those 4 videos, Exhibits 75, 77, 78, and 79, you turned all those videos over to the police, is that correct?
Objection. Leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
To whom did you turn those 4 videos over?
I emailed them to Officer, I believe it was Officer Lilling. There was a Rebecca Carpenter out of Eagle PD that wanted it, and I may have emailed it to somebody with West Dallas PD, but for sure Waukesha Police Department all got it that night.
While you got your phone in front of you, are you able to access your call log?
Yeah.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Can you go back to November 21st of 2021?
Okay.
Can you see what number Mr. Brooks dialed that day using your phone?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
So my call log didn't save back that far. My voicemails did, but my call log, I've made so many calls since then that it didn't. I didn't save that. I think the police definitely saved that number when they were at my house that night, though.
Do you recall if it was the same phone number that you received that voicemail from?
Objection speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
I don't recall for sure. No.
The videos that you released to the media, did you release anything to the media that you didn't also provide to the police?
Objection.
Overruled.
No, everything that was released to the media was already released to the police department.
Did you alter those videos or the audio that goes with them in any way when you released them to the media?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
No, I never altered any of them.
What about when you sent them to the police?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
No, never altered them.
Were you aware at the time that Ring is a subscription service?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes, we pay subscription for it.
And there's a cloud account that goes with that, is that right?
Objection leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
I think this is a pretty foundational question necessary to develop the
You're
testimony.
probably right, and can be some leading questions are allowed, but just rephrase that one, please, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Where do the videos go aside from your phone?
Objection speculative.
Overruled.
There's an app on my phone that I was able to save and download off the app onto my phone. So there might be, I'm pretty sure that there's a Ring cloud that the company Ring can probably access the footage, but I was never notified that they have access to it or anything like that.
If someone did want to access those videos through Ring, were you aware at the time that someone would have been able to double check and make sure that you didn't fudge with that video?
Objection leading.
Overruled if you're able to answer.
Yeah, I mean, Ring could, if we needed to get Ring to validate that it's correct, they would be able to do that.
Okay. When Mr. Brooks first knocked on your door, were you planning to sell those videos?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Objection speculative.
It's not speculative. Overruled. The witness may answer.
Objection hearsay.
It's not hearsay. Go ahead.
No, I had no idea what was going to happen after that.
What about after you let him in the back door and gave him a sandwich and a jacket? Was
Objection.
this all part of a plan at that point?
Objection leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
No, there's no plan to get footage to sell or anything like that, no.
You simply provided those videos to law enforcement and the media.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. I don't have anything else.
After the fact.
All right. Thank you. You may step down. It's a little after 12:09. We will take our lunch break. We went a little bit longer, so I'm going to take about a 90-minute lunch break today. So all rise for the jury. We are in recess. I'll see everyone in about.
Is that a judicial determination not to answer, Your Honor? So is that a tacit agreement?
All rise.
Subject matter jurisdiction has yet to be proven for the record.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. State have the next witness, please.
Thank you. The state calls Officer Rebecca Carpenter.
Good afternoon, officer. If you would please make your way to the witness stand on my right, up one riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you. Please be seated. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Rebecca, Rebecca, Carpenter, Carpenter.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Officer, how are you employed?
On the day of the parade, I was working a shift for the Village of Big Bend Police Department, sir.
Is that who still employs you?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yes, I'm also a patrol officer for the town of East Troy, and I'm the assistant chief for the Village of Eagle.
How many years have you spent in law enforcement?
I was appointed to the Milwaukee Police Department in March of 1991.
And when did you come out here to the Waukesha County jurisdictions that you mentioned?
I retired from the Milwaukee Police Department as a sergeant in November of 2017, and the first department I got into policing again with was the town of East Troy in May of 2018.
You already made reference to the parade. Were you working on duty as a law enforcement officer on November 21st of 2021?
Objection,
Yes, sir, I was.
leading.
Overruled. And you may answer.
Yes, I was.
Were you aware that day that the Waukesha Christmas parade was taking place?
Actually, I was not.
Did you at some point become aware that there was a parade in downtown Waukesha?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You
Yes.
may answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, I did.
How did you go about learning that information?
I heard over the radio channel that Big Ben monitors, which is not the same radio channel that the parade was on. I heard a broadcast that there had been shots fired.
What did you do in response to hearing that broadcast?
In response to that particular broadcast, I started paying closer attention.
And then what happened?
Squads on my channel, which is a Waukesha County channel, started to say that they were placing injured people in the backs of their squads and driving them to the hospital, which is a highly unusual circumstance.
What did you do when you learned that information?
I started driving toward downtown Waukesha.
Did you get there?
I did.
What happened then?
Initially, I went to the parade route, and I talked to a few people around injured people and determined that I wasn't really able to be of help there because they were all back injuries, and I can't, in a squad, I can't help with that.
So what did you do next?
I answered a call on the radio that said there was a man going door to door on Elizabeth Street asking to use people's phones to call an Uber.
Did you go to look for that man?
I did.
Where did you go?
I responded to Elizabeth Street, and I parked my squad on Elizabeth and West.
Where did you go from there?
I got out and partnered up with 2 other officers, and we decided that we would walk the street and look for this person.
Were you wearing a body-worn camera at the time?
Yes, sir, I was.
Where was that device affixed to your person?
The control box was on my chest, and the particular model of body-worn camera that I was wearing had a lens that I was wearing affixed to my collar.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has held up her right hand in a circle and pointed it towards about her collarbone, her right collarbone.
The record will so reflect.
Was that device also equipped with a microphone?
Objection
Yes.
leading.
Overruled.
Yes, sir.
And that microphone was synced up with the video?
Yes, sir.
Do you know whether your device was activated as you were walking down Elizabeth Street that afternoon?
Objection.
It was.
Overruled, and her answer may stand.
May we please display for the witness only exhibit number 80?
Go ahead. It will come on the monitor in front of you.
Do you see a video on the screen in front of you?
Yes, I do.
We're going to play the first 5 or 10 seconds of that just to see if you recognize it, okay? All right, we've played 6 seconds. Do you recognize that video?
I do.
What is it?
It is my body camera video of walking down Elizabeth Street.
From November 21st?
Objection
sir.
leading.
I will overrule it, and the answer may stand.
Does this video and the associated audio accurately reflect what happened that night as you saw it?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes, sir.
I'd move exhibit 80 into evidence and ask to publish.
Objection. Well, let me see.
Overruled. Exhibit 80 is received. Permission to publish is granted. For the record, please tell me the total length.
It is a 5-minute video.
Thank you. Go ahead.
We will start at the beginning. We're going to play it with audio, and we will pause at certain points, and I'll point out the timestamps when we pause. But we'll start from the beginning, please.
Big Ben.
Any unit that is on Elizabeth Street currently advised.
Robert 277.
Robert 277.
What's up? Hands up! Put your hands where I can see them. Put your hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Do it now!
We'll take them one of the hospitals for a plan of care.
What did I do? Lay on your stomach. What did I do?
Robert 277, are you on Elizabeth Street?
We've paused at 53 seconds. A few moments earlier in the video, we saw what appeared to be a handgun. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, sir.
Who was the person holding that handgun?
That was me.
And who were, well, let me strike that. I want to direct your attention to the top right corner of the screen here. There appears to be some type of timestamp. Do you see that?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I do, yes.
Do you know if that is an accurate military timestamp?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
That does not accurately reflect the time it occurred, no.
So it was not 11 p.m. at the time this video was recording.
Objection leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Do you know approximately what time it was that this video was recorded?
I know that I initially began to respond to the scene at about 20 minutes to 5. And I would be guessing about how much time elapsed, but I would say it wasn't more than a half hour or 40 minutes to this point.
Okay. The person who was depicted in the video at this point, at 53 seconds, that's what... Describe where in the video you first saw that person.
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
I first saw him standing on the porch.
And what, if anything, did you see that person doing when you first saw him?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
He appeared to be rather agitated.
Why do you say that?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. It's not leading. You may answer.
He was moving back and forth on the porch and gesturing.
Do you recall what you were wearing that evening?
I do.
What?
The exact same set of clothing that I'm wearing today.
Including long sleeves?
Yes.
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Did this person, depicted at 53 seconds, draw your attention in any way based on what he was wearing?
Yes.
Why?
It was chilly out, lower 40s, upper 30s, and he was in a t-shirt, jogging pants, and no shoes.
We can resume playing here at 53 seconds, please.
It's on my right.
You got something with your name on it, man?
No. Okay, lads, cooperate with us. Okay.
We paused at 1 minute and 4 seconds. What did we see in that portion of the video?
That was a sandwich.
Where did that sandwich come from?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
His right pants pocket.
The subject on the ground is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please resume at 104.
Robert 277. What's it?
We paused at 1 minute and 14 seconds. Did you at some point ask the subject depicted in the video at 114 to identify himself by name?
Go ahead.
I did.
What was that person's response?
He identified himself as Darrell Brooks.
Do you see Mr. Brooks in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you point him out for us by telling us where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
He is seated at the defense table wearing a dark-colored suit and striped tie and a mask over his face.
Just to be thorough, Your Honor, could we please have Mr. Brooks remove his mask momentarily?
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Go ahead.
Now that Mr. Brooks has removed his mask, does that change anything about your testimony today?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name. It's
You're-
leading.
You may go ahead and answer.
That's Darrell Brooks.
Could we please play from 114?
There's multiple units. David 216, you know, to 10.
What is your name?
Brooks.
First name?
Darrell.
I'm waiting for a vehicle.
Paused at 1 minute and 23 seconds. Sitting on the witness stand today, do you acknowledge that Mr. Brooks has a short haircut?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name. It's leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question, please.
How would you describe Mr. Brooks' haircut today?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Sir, I understand your objection. Please do not interrupt with that further so that the questioning of the witnesses may continue. You may answer.
If you say that name, I'm objecting.
And the jury will disregard the objection if it's solely for the name purposes. Go ahead.
Mr. Brooks has his hair cut close today.
What about when he took his face mask down? Did you notice his facial hair?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
He does have facial hair.
Did you notice anything different about his facial hair today versus in the video?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
That is also trimmed closer.
Does the hairstyle and the facial hairstyle here in court today give you any pause or concern over whether or not it's Mr. Brooks in the video?
Objection.
Go ahead and answer, please.
No, not at all.
Let's resume playing at 1:23.
Objection noted for the record.
I just used somebody's phone to call for a lift, that's all.
Oh, okay.
That's what I need. Yeah, one male 1026, the black male with red short sleeve shirt.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
If everything turns out to be on the up and up, life will be good, and you'll be on your way, all right?
Yes. I got it, guys, I got it. Suspect, I presume?
Unknown. Ask him. Ask him if he knows. He was on the porch here.
Yeah, I was using his phone.
What's your location?
I was using his phone.
You're holding this WMH road, loading her down.
I called my
Any squads available for a transport?
mother to give me a lift. That's all. I was just using his phone.
Darrell, this is Schwartz. I'm leaving WSC. Where do you need me?
What do you...
Can I just sit up? I was freezing. Can I please just sit up?
Do you have any weapons on you?
No,
Hi,
sir.
Mr. Knight.
What's your name, guy?
9209.
I just told her my name.
What did you tell Parks?
Yes, sir. What's your first name?
Darrell
Brook? Yes, sir.
No additional victims. We start on the next block.
Copy, no additional
This
victims.
matches the description of the guy that got called on who was going door to door over here.
Yeah, I was trying.
Where are your shoes, man?
I was trying to use somebody's phone.
Where are your shoes?
My flip-flops is in his house.
Paused at 2 minutes and 49 seconds. Did you hear the last thing said by the suspect on the ground at this point?
Objection
Yes.
leading.
Overruled.
What did he say?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
He said, my flip-flops is in his house.
Do you know if any flip-flops or any other shoes of any kind were ever retrieved from the residence that this was taking place in front of?
Objection speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
I did go in the house and speak to the resident there and asked if he had left shoes or outer garments or anything like that, and he said that he had not.
Can we please resume at the 2:49 mark?
He was saying he just gave me a jacket.
He's identifying soft fat, lighter skin, black male, dreadlocks, red shirt, blue jeans, no shoes.
Yeah, I did go to their house. I went to that house right there, right down the street, right here.
Where you coming from, man?
I was coming from that parade down here.
Okay.
I know a friend down here.
I think that's a fabulous idea.
I can't, Mr. Brook.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Roll over on your butt.
Okay, now just
Roll over on your butt. Roll up on your knees. Roll over on. Roll up on your knees.
okay.
500 block of Elizabeth.
Stand up.
Right now. 553 Elizabeth.
What are you doing?
Freaking sweet.
Factory here.
Did I do something?
That is yet to be
Go to
determined,
the front of
sir.
my squad, man.
Okay.
Is there anything on you that's going to stick me, poke me, hurt
No,
me?
no, not at all, sir.
Okay.
Not at all. I don't have any weapons.
Glad to hear it.
Nothing like that.
How did you get up over here, man?
I was coming to see a friend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where's your friend?
I don't know now.
Spin your back your hand for me.
I had, yeah, I went,
You injured at all, dude?
yeah.
What hurts?
When they slammed me, my knee, I already have an injury.
Spread your feet for me.
Okay, yes. That's my ID.
It certainly is.
Yes. I'm so cold.
I bet you are.
Paused at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Officer, can you tell us what you and any other officers were doing in that brief portion of the video?
Walking him to a squad car so he could be placed inside since he was not dressed for the weather.
What happened once you got to the squad car?
The officer whose squad he was going to be placed in went through his pockets to make sure he did not have anything that would be dangerous.
Okay. And do you know if anything was retrieved from his pockets?
Yes.
Objection.
Overruled. Her answer may stand.
There were no weapons, were there?
Objection
weapons.
leading.
Overruled. Her answer may stand.
What, if anything, do you recall being recovered from his pockets?
ID, some cards. I believe there was a credit card in there and a car key.
Can we please play from the 4:30 mark?
Go ahead and take a seat for me, Darrell.
Have the monitor in front of you. Do you want him to bring it out?
You said what hurt?
We're having some skipping issues, so let's pause it there and go back to 4:50, please.
I'm sorry, what time, Frank?
4:50.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're at 4:48. We'll play from here. I don't need to see those last few seconds. We can get them to work, I'm sure, if Mr. Brooks would like to see them. Could we please show for the witness only exhibit number 176? Do you recognize the photograph on the screen in front of you?
I do.
What does it depict?
It is still taken from my body cam footage. Those are my hands, and in my hands are the property that was taken from Mr. Brooks. You can see the officer's back at the open door of the squad, and Mr. Brooks' leg in the light there, where he's sitting in the squad.
Your Honor, I would move exhibit 176 into evidence and request permission to publish.
Objection, relevancy.
Exhibit 176 has received permission to publish as granted. The objection is overruled.
And while we're waiting for the screens to activate for the jurors, I'll ask you, Officer Carpenter, do you know what happened to the objects that are in your hands in that exhibit?
Yes, I gave them to the officer whose car Mr. Brooks was sitting in.
You don't know the identity of that officer?
I don't. There were a lot of officers from a lot of different jurisdictions.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have.
That's all you have? All right, thank you. Cross, please.
Yes. At one point you stated the suspect was wearing jogging pants. That'd be fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Were the jogging pants or blue jeans?
They were soft pants. They were not blue jeans.
Can we show Exhibit 80 again?
Yes, we can.
Well, yes, we can. Go ahead. Thank you.
Can you fast forward it a little bit? I'm not going to be sure exactly where to pause it at. You fast forward just a little bit. Can you pause? Can you zoom in a little bit? And play a few more seconds. Would that mess the zoom up? Would it still be zoomed in, or would it go back out?
It'll stay zoomed on that portion of the screen.
Okay.
We're at 5 seconds.
55, yeah. You would describe those pants as jogging pants or soft pants, as you say?
Yes.
And you stated that when you parked your car, where you parked your squad on Elizabeth and West, you hooked up with 2 other officers?
Yes.
And those officers had long guns?
Yes.
Can you explain what a long gun is?
Shoulder weapon, rifle, or shotgun.
Do you recall if it was a rifle or a shotgun?
I did not examine either weapon closely.
Are you done with this exhibit, sir?
Yeah, for right now, yeah. And you made reference to finding sandwich, credit cards, things of that nature in the pants, correct?
I found the sandwich while you were laying on the ground.
And you also stated that you found a credit card and things of that nature. In fact, would it be fair to say that that's what was in your hand on Exhibit 176?
Do you need the exhibit to answer? Do you recall?
I don't, thank you. There were what appeared to be credit cards and ID and a car key.
And they were in your hand, correct?
They were.
So would it be fair to say you also found those and not just a sandwich?
I did not pull that stuff out of your pocket, sir. That was a different officer. I did hold it while he finished searching you, sir.
So, I'm sorry, that threw me off. So you obtained that the credit cards and all that from a different officer?
Yes.
Did you find anything else?
On your person, I was not the person searching you. Aside from the sandwich while you were on the ground.
So as far as your search, you just found a sandwich?
Correct.
And at the time, do you recall why the suspect was being detained?
Yes.
And what was the reason?
Because you matched a description that was broadcast over the police radio of a suspect involved in the parade incident.
In this report, did you write it yourself or did another officer?
I wrote it.
Do you recall writing that the suspect was being detained for investigative purposes?
Yes.
Any reason why you wouldn't state what those purposes were in the report?
Yes. Because at the time we had contact with you, I was not fully aware of the circumstances.
Well, would it be fair to say that you just stated why the suspect was being detained?
That I just stated why this. I'm sorry, what was the question exactly, sir?
Would it be fair to say that you just stated when asked why was the suspect being detained at that moment? You answered,
that moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
at that moment that you detained the suspect. You stated because they matched the description of someone involved in the parade.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
But then you stated that at the time you weren't fully aware.
I knew that people had been hurt. I knew that shots had been fired. I did not know how many people were hurt. I did not know by what mechanism people would be hurt. I did not know the magnitude of the injuries. I just knew that something violent had happened.
So it'd be fair to say you weren't in the known of a lot of information at that point.
That's true.
Grounds.
Overruled. Her answer may stand.
Would it be fair to say that you were being heard in Exhibit 80 stating that if everything was on the up and up, you would be on your way?
Yes, sir, that's correct. That was me.
So would it be fair to say that was an inaccurate statement if the suspect fit the description of something that happened in the parade?
Not at all.
And what do you mean by not at all?
I mean, sometimes people look like someone who did something and turn out not to be that person. But that was not the case here.
So as far as you knew at the time, it could have been mistaken identity.
It could have been, but it was not.
Well, at the time, it'd be fair to say at the time you didn't know.
At the time, I did not know.
Did you give the suspect any of that information?
Objection.
Grounds.
I'm not sure what information he's talking about.
Sustained is to the form of the question. It's vague.
Did you give the suspect any information on why they were being detained?
I said, actually, it wasn't me that said that. It was another officer that said that, and I can't tell you who it was because I don't know. While you were being put in the car, you were informed you were being detained for investigative purposes, which is an answer that's appropriate for the circumstances.
So it would be fair to say that that's not really all that informative?
I did not have a lot of information to give you, sir.
Keep saying you. Who are you referring to?
You, Mr. Brooks. Darrell Brooks. Seated at the defense table.
any reason why you wouldn't tell a suspect why they're being detained? Essentially being that if you take someone into custody, they should know why they're being taken into custody. Wouldn't you agree?
I can't give you information that I don't have. And I wouldn't want to tell you the wrong thing. That wouldn't be fair.
So why would a suspect be detained without any information, to your knowledge?
Objection.
Grounds.
Asked and answered.
Also calls for speculation, vague, sustained as to the form of the question.
So would it be fair to say that you can detain a suspect without them knowing why they're being detained?
Objection. This
Grounds.
calls for a legal analysis, not factually relevant.
No.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Would it be fair to say you initially responded to the 500 block of Elizabeth because of a report of, I guess you would call it a trespassing report?
I would more put it under the heading of suspicious behavior under the circumstances.
So is that why you were initially dispatched to that area for suspicious behavior?
Yes.
And do you recall when you got the report of shots fired?
I believe that was one of the first things I heard over the radio before I was even there.
Do you recall ever finding out where the shots fired came from?
Eventually I did.
Do you recall in your reading report writing that when you had arrived at Elizabeth and West and parked your squad and began to walk down the street, that you had your firearm in your hand?
Yes.
And was that because of the call of shots fired, or did you feel unsafe at the time?
That's because there were shots fired and I did not know by whom.
Did you get a report of anyone hit by the shots?
At that time, no. I did not know one way or the other if anyone had been hurt.
Did you?
It had been hit. I knew people were hurt.
Do you recall the area of where the shots fired? Was that the general area?
The general area, somewhere in the vicinity of the parade.
Is Elizabeth and West in the general area?
It's a few blocks away.
And you did state you didn't find any weapons on the suspect, right?
Correct.
Did you find any shell casings or?
No.
Do you have any reason to believe that the shots came from the suspect?
I did not know who had done shooting. I had heard a report of shots fired. I did not know by whom, as I've said, sir.
Any reason to believe that the shots came from the suspect is what I'm asking.
I did not know.
And you stated that upon seeing the suspect on the porch, that they were gesturing?
Gesturing? Yes, sir.
And you also stated that in your written report that it was in the upper 30s that evening with the brisk wind. Would that be fair to say?
It was
Pretty
upper
cold.
30s, lower 40s, somewhere right in there. It was cold. I was cold.
Do you think that maybe the gesturing was because the suspect was cold?
Objection.
Grounds.
Calls for speculation.
Overruled. She may answer if she's able.
I didn't know.
And do you recall checking the general area around the house that you found the suspect?
Yes, sir.
Did you find anything around the house? I guess I'm referring to where you wrote in your report you checked the likely path of travel.
Yes, sir, I do recall that. No, we did not find anything.
And do you recall checking the pockets of the coat worn by the suspect?
Yes.
Do you recall how the suspect obtained the coat?
I recall what I was told.
So it'd be fair to say you weren't sure if you were only told this information. That'd be fair to say?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
You made reference to saying you only know what you were told. So it'd be fair to say at that time you didn't know unless you were told.
Didn't know what?
How the suspect obtained the coat.
I asked the resident of the house you were at. Actually, I believe he volunteered to me that he had given you a coat to wear.
And you checked the pockets of the coat?
Yes.
And did you find anything?
I did not find anything.
what point did you learn that the suspect who was being detained would be arrested?
At some point later.
And it was another officer's vehicle that the suspect was placed in, correct?
Correct.
And when did you leave that scene?
Not for hours.
Why so long?
Because when there is a crime scene that potentially spans blocks, everything needs to be searched for evidence. Witnesses need to be located. Because once things are gone, things are gone. So it has to all be done right the first time.
Did you write your report that evening?
I believe I wrote it the next morning.
So it would be fair to say after you had learned a little bit more information, then you wrote the report?
That would be true, yes.
In the video, Exhibit 80, the suspect gave you his name, right?
That's correct.
Was that right when you handcuffed him, if you recall?
Right around that time, yes, sir.
And did you talk to any other witnesses that evening besides the owner of the home that you saw the suspect?
No.
In the hours that you stayed on Elizabeth, did you talk to any other witnesses at all?
No, I looked through a few yards and mostly maintained a perimeter for a search.
Do you recall why you looked through a few yards?
Searching for evidence.
Do you recall what evidence you may have been searching for at that time?
You know, a lot of times you don't know until you find it.
So do you recall what maybe you might have been looking for a weapon or anything like that?
That would have gotten my attention, yes, absolutely.
Did you find any weapon?
No, sir.
Did you learn any knowledge of any ring video footage that evening?
I don't recall if I viewed the footage that evening or the following day. I did at some point view that ring footage, yes.
So you were aware that night that it was ring footage?
I believe I was aware of it that night. I don't believe I watched it, but I can't say with certainty.
And do you recall initially responding to Clinton Street and Broadway first?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall why you responded to that location first?
To see if I could help anyone.
About how long did you stay there before responding to Elizabeth?
Just a few minutes.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. Any redirect?
Referring specifically to the time that you placed the handcuffs on Mr. Brooks, remember that time frame?
Yes, sir.
I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer.
Thank you. Yes, I do.
Do you recall how Mr. Brooks ended up on the ground as that was happening?
I do.
Could you tell us about that?
Objection. Saw in the video.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
We instructed him to put his hands up and then to get down on the ground.
Did he comply with those instructions?
He did.
Did you or any other officer have to put hands on Mr. Brooks to get him on the ground?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
No, sir, we did not.
After he was on the ground, that's when the handcuffs went on?
Objection.
correct.
Leading.
Overruled. She may answer.
Your answer again was?
That's correct.
At any point after the handcuffs went on, did you or any other officer throw Mr. Brooks to the ground?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
We did not.
How did you treat Mr. Brooks as he moved him from his prone position on the ground to the squad car?
Objection.
Overruled. She may answer.
As the video shows, he was instructed, let's call it the path of least resistance, to get up off of a prone position, eventually to his feet, with a minimum of discomfort.
Did you successfully achieve that objective?
Objection. Speculative.
I'll rephrase.
Are you able to answer?
Yes,
Go ahead.
in as best as one can stand a person up when they have their hands handcuffed behind their back. Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down.